Hello, everyone, and welcome to NSP Football Talk. If this is your first time, welcome. This is a year-round show. We talk about the NFL, we talk about football in general, all year round. This is our slowest time, but we are about to enter the Twilight Zone, which is going to be very crazy because free agency is about to start. I think next week, if I'm not mistaken, Vince. And you're going to hear a lot of trades. You're going to hear a lot of rumors. You're going to hear a lot of drama. On top of that, it's not only like, oh, this player wants to go here. This player is going to get signed here. You're going to hear all the cheese, man. If you don't know what that means, all the dirty. What do you call it? What's the word for cheese, man? Here, Vincent.
The dirty laundry, all
The dirty laundry. There you
the
go.
interesting news.
The fun stuff, right? The stuff
Yeah.
that everyone wants to talk about. That's where you're going to hear about these players. So this is your first time. Welcome in. Consider hitting that subscribe button. Hit that bell button, that notification, so you know when we're going on. So this is not, I don't want to say your ordinary podcast or talk show, whatever it is. We do things our way. We have our own perspective and our own point of view on things. So we hate, we appreciate, but we're always real. We do have biased opinions, but we will let you know whenever it is biased and when it's not biased. So welcome in, Vincent. We finally have NFL news or newsworthy topics today. The past few weeks have been kind of rough, and we could not go live Saturday, so forgive us to talk about the Deebo trade, the Deebo Samuel trade. That is the number one topic that we're going to be talking about or discussing today. So if you guys are listening in, even if you're not live, drop down a comment and we will answer every single comment because we love to talk about football and we don't know enough people to talk about football with, which I'm going to plug in our Discord. So if you love talking about football, join our Discord. We talk about football all year round, especially fantasy football, because yes, fantasy football season comes around. You get to play fantasy football with us and we get to demolish you guys as we do every single year. Trey, what's going on, Trey? Appreciate you being here. Says Reed coming in late again? No, he's not going to be coming in today. He's having to work late. It is what it is, but don't worry. You got us. That's what it's about. So, Vincent, I'm trying to look at your background here. You could see that you are a Seattle Seahawks fan. Hearing the news, I was with you, but I want others to know. Hearing the news that Deebo Samuel was traded, what were your first thoughts? What was your first reaction?
I was glad. Get another guy who actually makes a difference against the Seahawks out of there. This past year when we played at home, which was the game that you, Reed, and I actually went to, freaking Deebo Samuel had one of the best dang touchdowns of his lifetime.
Pretty crazy.
Basically. Pretty crazy. Yeah, so it was cool to see, right, at the game. Mm-hmm. But I wish it didn't happen because maybe the game would have been closer. Maybe we could have actually made some momentum go in our favor there. But he says, I am ahead of him. But yeah, in my opinion, I'm glad that you guys are losing a star and could potentially be losing another star at some point in time. There's been talks about Brandon Ayuk. Obviously, how you said, injury is there from this past year. But, I mean, the more weapons that can be taken away from that offense, I'm totally fine with. You already have Kittle. You already have McCaffrey. You have a couple of guys that are coming in that are young, and I'm pretty sure you're going to draft a few more guys at positions that you need in this upcoming draft. So the less stars you guys have, the happier I am.
Same goes back at the Seattle Seahawks. Hopefully they do trade DK. Hopefully they do not sign Lockett because then I'll be a happy camper. But if you guys follow this show, if you guys follow us on Discord or any social media, then you know my thoughts on Deebo, especially this past year. The first thing I want to say, welcome in, Brandon. I want to get to this question right now. The first thing I want to say about Deebo Samuel is thank you. I do want to give my thanks to Deebo. He's done a lot for this team. I mean, he's grown with this team, and I have a lot of great memories because of Deebo Samuel. So thank you very much, Deebo. I appreciate that. Am I glad he's gone? I will say that the team did not get better by him leaving. I don't think that's a case. I think any team that grabs himself a Deebo Samuel gets better. Right? I don't think there's a scenario where a team gets worse by getting Deebo Samuel. He's a great player, very athletic, outgoing. But this past year, he sucked. He did. That's the bottom line. You look at the stats, you look at the way he played, you looked at his attitude. I mean, I get that he's best friends with Kyle Shanahan, but he did not produce. He came out towards the end of the season and said, I need to get the ball. They're not giving me the ball. He threw a tantrum. And what did Shanahan and Brock Purdy say? We need to get our guy the ball. That's our guy. We need to get him the ball. He's absolutely right. What other team does that? What are the you think Nick Sirianni is defending AJ Brown right now? No, right? What other team does that? And I want to get to it later on how Kyle Shanahan treats his players that he likes, because this is why the trade happened, right? Because he likes them. But and then after that, it was a must-win game, and Deebo Samuel has one of the worst performances in his career, and we lost because he had a right away touchdown and he drops an easygoing ball. Vincent, you remember this? It was quite embarrassing. And out this past season, he had two good games, and they were the last 2 games of the season that didn't matter.
Yep.
He did not play well. And I got a little bit of information here by John Chapman. Very great guy. He's a 49er fan. He doesn't like to call himself a reporter, vlogger, whatever it is. So he's a fan. He put this out there. The 49ers ended up paying Deebo Samuel $54 million for an average of 961.5 total yards on an average of 8 total touchdowns over 2 seasons. That's not good. Not in the slightest. So yeah, that's a lot of money. And a lot of people are thinking, oh, the Niners are dumb. The Niners are idiots for trading Deebo for a 5th round. That's not a lot. I mean, it's not. Does it make up for Deebo? Absolutely not. Are the Niners good at drafting players in the 5th round? Hell yeah, they are. I think they're one of the best in the league in the 5th round, which is not a stat to gloat about. But when you think about it, Kyle Shanahan takes care of his players. That's what Deebo wanted. And Kyle Shanahan did not want to end up with a Derrick Henry type situation. He wanted to get at least something out of nothing, right? So we get a 5th round. The Commanders take on his whole contract. They can't take on the dead cap. The Niners take on, I have it right here, about $34 million in dead cap.
Gosh.
That is hit this year. And people are like, oh, why did the Niners wait till after June 1st? They're idiots. The only difference is the Niners would divide the 34 mil over the next 2 seasons instead of this season only. Get it over with. That's fine. It is what it is. It's dead cap. It happens all around the NFL. But what do we do going forward? I want to answer this question here. So Brandon says, is Deebo value still good? In my point of view, like I said, I don't think he makes the team worse. I'm glad that he's with the Washington Commanders. I think the Washington Commanders got another weapon, and I'm happy for Deebo. I'm happy for them. Vince, what is your perspective on Deebo's value here?
I think it's valuable. Of course, he had a down season, but like we're going to see in the comment next for Trey, it says the 49ers had just a rough season entirely by itself. So again, that wasn't solely because of Deebo, but Deebo had a portion of that. Do I think that he'll do better with the Commanders? I most likely do. McLaurin is there. He's been doing phenomenal. And they have that Luke McCaffrey guy who could finally start playing after this offseason if he gets better. And then Deebo Samuels. I mean, somebody's going to be taking targets from somebody, but somebody's going to be open because now there's 2 guys that you have to worry about. Deebo has great yak yards. Terry McLaurin has great yak yards. So again, it's like a dynamic duo there, and I think it just benefits Jaden Daniels. It benefits Zach Ertz if he can resign there. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I think it makes the Commanders better, and I think it would make pretty much almost every team better with him because of his versatility.
Now, there was an overreaction today, Vincent, that I heard on the radio on the Rich Eisen show, which I don't watch a lot of mainstream commentators, but Rich Eisen, he knows what he's talking about. His partner actually said, now that Deebo Samuel's with the Commanders, Eagles won't be number 1 in that division.
Cool.
That's kind of a reach. But he did say, hey, the Eagles have a lot of free agents. And it's true. But Rich Eisen came back, says, yeah, but none of them are named Hurts, Brown, or Smith. And I get that. But you're going to take a hit. And if the Commanders just so happen to get Myles Garrett on top of that,
oh yeah, that's bad for that
yeah,
division.
they're still one of the top teams with cap space. That's what's crazy about it. Just because the previous owner was a cheapskate, saved up all that money. They have a lot of money left. That's the one good thing that they had, was that they had a lot saved up. They could actually pull it off. But going to another player that is with the 49ers, which stings this player because last year he wanted to join Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. So now he sees that his former teammate is with Washington. We're talking about Brandon Ayuk. So there are still talks about Brandon Ayuk trades. The Niners say that they're still open to trading Brandon Ayuk. As a Niners fan, my perspective, I wouldn't mind trading Brandon Ayuk. Now, I know some of y'all are thinking, oh, this guy's looking for a reboot, right? I don't mind the Niners getting younger, which we are. We are. We're getting younger. But I also do not mind molding a team around Brock Purdy. Deebo Samuel wasn't a good fit for Brock Purdy. It just wasn't, right? It helps because of a stud and talented player that Deebo is, but it wasn't a good fit. Brandon Ayuk, he is a true X player, and that is hard to find in the NFL. I don't want him to leave, but coming off this harsh and gruesome injury with an ACL and some more ligaments torn, we don't know what's going to happen. And he's one of the highest paid wide receivers in the league now. So I do feel like it will help us by trading him and seeing what we could get, which I do believe that we'll get more than just a 5th round on that. Now, as a Seattle Seahawks fan, actually, no, I don't want this as a Seattle Seahawks fan perspective. As a football fan's perspective, should the Niners still be open to trading Brandon Ayuk, Vincent?
As a football fan and nothing else but a football fan, yeah, they should. We've seen it time and time again. The percentage of you having a great season after a lot of ligaments torn like that, whether it's a knee, whether it's in the ankle like Achilles, is very seldomly good. So Brandon Ayuk is going to come back. Yes, he's still fairly young. That's why, the 49ers still paid him all that chunk of money to make him one of the highest paid wide receivers in the league. But this next year, if he comes back, whether it's beginning of season, which I highly doubt, or if it's, somewhere towards midseason, it's not going to be a good turnaround, if that makes any sense. So whatever games he does play for the 49ers this upcoming year, whether it's all 16 or whether it's 8, it's not probably going to be his best 8 or 16 games. So if you can trade him right now and dump off that contract to somebody else where you don't have to pay any dead cap, or you don't have to pay any portion of his salary for the next few years, I think it benefits you, but it just depends on the return that you get. So I would want nothing less than a high 3rd, low 2nd. I would not take anything less than that if it's just a pick for a player trade. Now, if it's a player for player, obviously you're trying to get somebody who's a top 10 highest wide receiver or a top 10 highest paid position player at their position. So it just depends on the need. And in my opinion, I would still be open to trading Ayuk just to see what you could get, because some teams just don't know how to trade properly, and you could definitely win a trade like that. So that's what I think as a football fan.
I completely agree. Yeah, and I'm just excited what the Niners are going to do this draft now, right? Because now an issue is the wide receiver, but the wide receiver position is the most drafted position in the Kyle Shanahan era, and obviously it has not worked out, that great. All we have to show for is 3 guys, maybe 4 now, that if you want to count Ricky Pearsall, which looked good at the end of the season. But yeah, we got to give thanks to Shanahan and Lynch for Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and Jawan Jennings, of course. My God, the dog. He's good. But everyone else, the next 14 wide receivers that we've gotten, has been a bust. Yeah, it has not been good. It has not been good. But let's go ahead and move on. Talking about the draft, Vincent, we got the Tennessee Titans with the number 1 overall pick, and this is going to be the first time that we're talking about the draft this season or this offseason. What do the Titans do? A lot of people are like, dude, it's totally obvious, right? They're going to get the quarterback from Miami. What's his name?
Cam Ward.
Cam Ward. Is Cam Ward?
Yeah.
Damn, that's a good name right there. That's a football name. I think that he'll be successful.
Sure.
That's a good football name because we already had a Cam Ward, right? So yeah, it's obvious, but is it? Is it that obvious that the Tennessee Titans are going to go for a quarterback here because they have a lot of other needs to address, Vincent? I mean, they need to get a wide receiver. You know, Calvin Ridley, yeah, he's good, but he's not he's not what he once was, right? And then
Not
you have an edge, offensive tackle, safety. There's a lot of positions to address there. So is it an obvious pick here, Vince? Are they going to get Ward?
It's hard to say because we've only seen so many generational talents that actually get drafted at the number 1 overall pick. It's probably more in favor of that player only lasting a few years and not, living up to the hype, rather than you trading down to like a pick that you can get like at 6, 7, 8, whoever wants to trade up basically, and getting more picks as, more chances to get guys that can actually make a difference. And yeah, like you said, Tennessee Titans have so many holes. It's like a freaking sponge that they need everything, basically. Of course, quarterback. Tony Pollard did not have the best year, but then what O-line was he running behind, basically, besides J.C. Latham? But really, they just need everything from right tackle. They need both guards, in my opinion. They could last with a couple of guys on there, but if you can get one more like stud right tackle or guard just to put on the other side, that would be great. But even their defense just needs a lot. So they need to really just beef up around Devondre Sweat and really everywhere else. I mean, corners are absolutely horrible. There are a lot of guys that have just been from team to team, and now the Titans are just hurting. So we've seen it time and time again. When you draft a generational quarterback and your entire team is just not ready, it doesn't work.
Correct.
So I would try to trade back, to be honest.
I mean, there's a lot of teams that are willing to trade up, and there's been rumors that there's certain teams that are ready to trade up. And one of those teams is the Las Vegas Raiders. Another one of those teams, this is a shocker, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah. Those two teams have been reported to have interest in the number 1 overall pick. But after the Titans, you're looking at the Cleveland Browns, the New York Giants, the New England Patriots, and then it's the Jacksonville Jaguars and Raiders. Out of those teams, I think maybe the Patriots probably won't be interested in a quarterback. I like Mayo, but the Browns possibly.
So here's the situational. If Jacksonville wants to move up, and obviously I don't think they're going to move up for like a Hunter, I don't think they're going to move up for him. They obviously are going to want a quarterback. Are they willing to trade Trevor Lawrence in that swap, give him to the Titans, and get the number 1 pick? That'd be insane.
That would. That may answer a lot of questions for Tennessee, and actually, I don't mind that.
Yeah,
I really don't. I think that would be awesome. Are you making this official? Is that your official first mock here?
I don't think it's my official first mock, but that would definitely be a mock for me, because if that's the only reason you would go up to the number 1 pick, you want the cream of the crop.
Yeah,
I want to pick the guy that I want, and I don't think they'd be going after Travis Hunter or anybody else at the number 1 pick like that.
So Trey is like, does Shedeur go to the Giants or Raiders? And Dizzle saying Rodgers is going to New York. So right now the topic is, what do the Titans do with the number 1 overall pick? That is the topic right now. I think Rodgers is toxic. I just think he brings a toxic environment, and he's not a good situation wherever he goes. Deebo is damaged goods. Yeah. He gets hurt every time he gets hit. But going back to what you're saying, Vincent, I think that I really like that scenario. But I do want to show this real quick, right? It's nothing special. Am I showing it at the stage?
Not yet. I think we have to move our.
Yeah. So this is what the Tennessee Titans are doing, right? They already scheduled visits. I got to go back to that. They have scheduled visits for Cam Ward, the quarterback from Miami, Abdul Carter, edge, Shedeur Sanders, and Travis Hunter. I don't know. I know you don't fall for the hype with Shedeur and Travis Hunter.
I do.
But they're showing interest. And for me, this is scary with them having the number 1 overall pick, right? Could they fall into, I don't want to say the money line here, but ticket sales rather than a potential team, because whatever team Shedeur Sanders goes to, ticket sales. Travis Hunter, ticket sales. That's what they're doing. That's in my, not so pro opinion here, but I think it will shock the world if a player from Colorado goes number 1 overall.
Yeah. It'd be insane. Again, I'll reiterate why I don't think these guys are actually worth the number 1 overall pick. Travis Hunter has made it blatant that he wants to play both sides of the ball. Would this help the Titans? Yeah, it would probably. Because, again, they already have wide receivers there that could make a difference, like Calvin Ridley. They have Nick Akina Westbrook that was playing phenomenally at one point in time in the season, getting touchdowns like twice a game for like a 4-game streak.
Yeah.
So obviously he could play the wide receiver and actually not have to be the number 1 guy, and then he can play corner. But like, how realistic is that and how long term? Because obviously there's more games in the NFL season than there was in the college season. So the level of play is also higher. So that makes no sense at all for them to get Travis Hunter, in my opinion. Shedeur Sanders, we saw what he did against actual good college defensive teams, and it wasn't very, believable that he could translate to the NFL and do that same thing that he was doing to those, smaller conference schools. So Shedeur Sanders definitely is an athlete. I will not say that he's not. Travis Hunter is definitely an athlete. I'm not going to say both of those guys are not at the top of this athlete type draft this year, but I just don't think they're worth the number 1 overall pick. They went to Colorado for a reason, and I mean, Shedeur Sanders had to have his dad kind of hype him up to get him to this level. So that's just my opinion.
I totally agree. Tizzle thinks a running back Judkins is going to be a steal. We'll see. We will see. He's not. I think he's a talented individual. But running backs never go too high. But I don't know. This scares me, right? Because they narrowed it down to 4 guys that they want to meet with. Cam Ward is the obvious pick, right? If they feel like he's the guy, then okay, let's do it. Let's get our franchise guy. If he's not the guy, then I say we move back. Let's ride out Will Levis's, rookie year. It's not like you're going to be a top team next year. I 100% believe that you're going to have a top 5 pick. You won 3 games this season. You're going to have a top 5 pick next season because you have multiple positions to address. Your offensive line is garbage. It is what it is. It's garbage. Ezekiel Elliott was a different breed coming out of college, and so was Saquon Barkley. Those are different breeds.
Those are different guys.
Yeah. But if I'm okay, if you know what, we might not get Abdul Carter. If we move back, let's get Abdul Carter. That's pushing it. right? In the first overall pick, because you already came out and said you're going to get a generational talent.
Yeah.
These guys, in my opinion, in this draft, you can call it a weak draft class or not, I don't think there's a generational talent that is a solidified number 1 overall pick this draft. I don't see it, right? Unless Trey Lance was there, of course. But Shadir Sanders, Travis Hunter, I think they're going to fall hard. They're going to fall hard. I think it'll be a perfect fit for the Niners to get someone like Travis Hunter because we need both positions. I don't want to play both positions, but we have an option there, right? But yeah, if Cam Ward, after that meeting, after what you see in private, drills and all that, if you don't think he's a franchise guy, he's a very talented individual. But if you can't see it, then nah, let's not worry because he's going to get killed. This is a worse situation than Caleb Williams, right? Caleb Williams, he was a quote-unquote generational talent. He still could be. But you put him behind a mediocre, it's not a poor, a mediocre offensive line. And how did he do? Not so great. You give him receivers up the wazoo. What did he do? He didn't do nothing. He didn't do much. Did he have a tight end? Yeah, he did have a great tight end. Did he have a defense? Young, talented, yes. He had a good defense. But look at the situation. It just wasn't that clear, right? It was muddy water. So
Yeah.
I think you could move back, get a couple more draft picks because they don't have too many. This draft, they have 1 first, a second, no thirds, 2 fourths, 2 fifths. I think it stops there. Yeah, not that great. You can move back. I get a next year number 1, so you can have a top 5 pick. And then if you get someone like the Las Vegas Raiders, a top 10 pick on top of that'd be something. That'd be great. Right? And then you go get yourself a guy with the last name Manning. Maybe. Potentially. Archie Manning. There's a lot you could do there. The Titans, I think this is too much pressure. If you're the new head, I forgot who the new head coach is for the Titans.
Yeah, me too. Let me double check.
That's how bad it is, right? That's how bad the situation is. While you check, I'm going to read some comments here. Dizzle saying Patriots making the playoffs. That's a tough division there.
Brian Callahan?
Where's he from? Callahan. Bijan and Gibbs.
Where he was from.
Bijan, generational talent. Yeah, Gibbs. Yeah. Jackson Tart. So Reed is working late today. But Callahan, this is his first year, right, as a head coach?
I believe so.
Because honestly, ever since Vrabel, and that door has been a revolving door. I'm telling you right now, if you're the head coach and you draft Cam Ward, or if you keep the number 1 pick and pass up on Cam Ward, you're probably losing your job. And that's the bottom line.
Brian Callahan was there this past year.
Was okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I think that's the bottom line, right? If you have the number 1 overall pick, especially if it was there last year, and if you pick Cam Ward, you're losing your job. If you keep the number 1 overall pick and you pass up on Cam Ward and get Abdul Carter, you lose your job because it's going to be another 3, 4, 5 win season at most. And I could be totally wrong, and someone could clip this and be like, AJ, you damn idiot. But that's just how this. I mean, your offensive line sucks. It's one of the worst in the league.
Yeah.
You need a lot more. You have Calvin Ridley. Your next best guy is Akeem the Dream Hicks. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter because they're not doing anything. Right? I think the best play here to save jobs, to save lives, to move back in the draft, get a future first-round pick, and get a stud offensive lineman. That's what you need to do. Build the trenches or get a great edge. Build in the trenches. That's where great teams start. We will not be going to the draft this season, this offseason. Great experience. I probably won't ever do it again. Great experience. Bucket list. Check. But yeah.
It was so bad. It wasn't bad. It was so mediocre that I don't even remember where I put my draft hat. It's somewhere.
Oh yeah.
I bought that draft hat and got it engraved and everything, and
I
or
remember.
stitched. I don't even know where it's at.
You should be fired up for Vrabel. I think he's awesome. No more t-shirt monkey running the football team.
Oh my gosh.
The great edge guy, Abdul Carter, no need to trade pick. I'm not saying it's a bad pick at the number one overall.
He's just injured, man.
I'm just
Got that
saying.
shoulder.
Yeah, that's another thing too. You're dealing with injuries, right? But I'm just saying that you're going to lose your job if you pick Carter. Doesn't matter how good he does.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the record is not going to be better than 5 wins. When are the vlogs coming back?
I don't know.
It's tough.
We can do a camping vlog, maybe.
yeah, maybe.
I want to enjoy it though.
I do too. I do too. But for sure, when the season comes around, because we're trying to plan out football games to go to. But yeah, let's close up on that topic. If we want to reopen that, then we can. But Vincent, we're coming into the last topics of the day. We're going to talk about franchise tags, and we got news today that T. Higgins gets franchise tagged again for the second year in a row. He wanted 30 mil. The franchise tag gives him 26.2 mil, so it's underneath. He tweeted or X'd, I don't know what you call it, tag, TAG with a period. It's very hard to uncode his thoughts here. But what does this mean for T. Higgins? What does this mean for the Bengals? And what does this mean for the future of the Cincinnati Bengals?
T.
That's in the works.
It is.
That's in the works. We want to do it. We do.
All right, so you're asking me, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's 26 million, man, for your second wide receiver.
Imagine.
Like, you're spending almost 60 million alone on just 2 receivers. He needs his bag, yeah, but almost 60 million on just 2 wide receivers, and then on top of it, you're paying your quarterback close damn near to 50 mil a year. So obviously that's already half of your cap space, basically. So yeah, this is where it's at. This is the tweet from Ian Rappaport. But in my opinion, with that, you don't have a future. Like, there's no direction. You're spending half of, almost, like, I think it's like 40-45% of your cap available on 3 guys.
Yeah.
And then you want to also pay Trey Hendrickson, who's going to get the dang bag either with them or with somebody else. That's already overpassing your 50% of cap. I'm pretty sure he's going to go for like 20 mil, maybe something a little bit higher, just depending on how much they value him. But
calm down there, buddy. Okay. I love me some Trent Williams.
That's crazy. But yeah, so like that's already half of your cap on just 4 guys alone. And those are your biggest stars. Yes, they are. They are the guys that bring in the ticket sales. They are the guys that help you win games. But what about everybody else? You're just going to get younger everywhere else and hope you hit on every single draft pick? Because usually that does not happen for the Bengals. So again, yes, you are locking up some of the guys that you do not want to let go and other teams have. But at what cost to your chances of making the Super Bowl and actually being a well-rounded team? Where does that go? I don't think it really goes anywhere. They're just going to still be fighting to make the playoffs, and then they're going to have to really, really get lucky in the playoffs to get past everybody and win the Super Bowl. So that's my thoughts right there.
I do have to say this for Reed. Reed says, "Let my opinion be known," and you can kind of see in the bottom right corner, Reed is saying, for the future, they will have no defense.
Mm-hmm.
that could also qualify for the present now, because Trey Hendrickson, stud of a player, but he can't do it all. He just can't. It's kind of it's sad. Real quick, Dizzle says SF ship is sinking. Do you think Ayuk gets traded? He's linked to Pats. I don't want him. I don't think he gets traded. But then again, I didn't think Deebo was going to get traded. So I don't mind him getting traded. I would like for him to get traded. I would say don't rule that out, because it looks like Kyle Shanahan wants to build a team around Brock Purdy, which he's never done before. Was able to build a team around a certain quarterback. He's never done that in his career, ever. Green Bay getting DK Metcalf, still going to stink. Watch DK just get injured out for the season. That'd be the Green Bay curse.
That's the Green Bay curse, yeah.
But yes, the Bengals have made their priorities clear. They want to lock in Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Trey Hendrickson. Is that the right move for the Cincinnati Bengals? I don't think so. I don't think they should focus on running backs. I think Chase Brown did a fair job. He wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't the greatest guy, but he was ideal for that offensive system. T. Higgins, absolute stud. But to what point is it? Like, let's say this, right? T. Higgins, he could be a wide receiver one anywhere else he goes. You franchise tagged him again this year, making him a free agent next year. He could still get traded right now under the franchise tag, which he has not signed yet. But you wait till next year, and he's a free agent. You get nothing for him.
He's leaving.
He's gone. He's been disrespected 2 years in a row. He wants to be the guy. He loves it there. He does. I full on believe it. But he hates the situation there. And that's the thing. So I honestly think you got to swallow your pride a little bit and maybe do what the Niners do, what they did. Take what you could get from him and move on. Because just like the Tennessee Titans, you have a lot to address. Your defense has no identity. None. Outside of Trey Hendrickson. That's it. Offensive line, bunch of bums out there. No protection whatsoever. You're killing your biggest investment. Jamar Chase, at the beginning of the season, didn't want to play.
I know.
Yeah, did we forget about that? Like, Dill says, is there a limit on amount of franchise tags in a row? So there is something, right? They could franchise tag him next year, but it's going to be extremely difficult or extremely expensive. It's one of those things there.
Yeah, it goes up in price every time you do it, but I think there's two different tags. There's like a restrictive tag and then there's an unrestricted tag, something like that, where basically they're still tied to you and your organization, but they can still go out and seek a trade or to try to have somebody else match it, whatever you're going to be getting paid. So if another team, like if he was on the unrestricted right now and another team wanted to match it, he could sign with somebody else. But I think this is the tag that ties him only to the Bengals and he has to be with only them. So
also, since they tagged him again for the second time in a row, the Bengals have until next season, July, to give him an extension.
Yep.
So they are now on a time limit, right? They have until July to give him that extension, which is there's a lot of time in between, but they have to do something here. I want to look this up real quick. How many times can a team
go for it? But in other words, we're still talking about the tag while AJ searches that up. Another guy that 3 years, okay,
3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
Interesting. But it keeps going up in price, I'm assuming.
Yes, it keeps going up in price.
Yeah.
Honestly,
crazy.
That could be something San Francisco trade for T. Higgins. He's a good fit. He creates separation. That's what Deebo couldn't do. Ricky Pearsall is very good at it. But yeah, sorry, go ahead with your statements.
Oh, yeah. Now, there's one more guy that is being talked about for the franchise tag, but it's the other way. he's not getting tagged, and they already made it known. There you go, right there. It's going to be Chris Godwin. So the Buccaneers are, I mean, they love this guy, right? But they just can't do it. He's getting older, he's getting injured more.
Yeah.
And that was just the cake on it. And you saw it in his face when he got injured this past year. I mean, that game was insane, right? Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin were going insane, but just got hurt literally the last play that didn't really matter too much, or the second play before that. Like, it stinks. And poor Chris Godwin, I hope he gets on the team this year. Hopefully he can get healthy, but that is a guy who is receiving no contract at this point.
Dizzle, I love his comments, dude. They're hilarious.
Oh, gosh.
Godwin is toast. Yeah, it was sad. When you saw him getting carted off, he was mouthing the words, "My career is over. My career is over." And for him to say that, I mean, and then the Bucs go out here and not, franchise tag him. That is, it's sad.
Hurts.
Because Chris Godwin was, arguably having the best season as a wide receiver last year. He was, out of this world. Yeah, above Jay Jettas, above Jamar Chase. I'm saying it proud because this guy was being a stud, and that's because he was sharing the field with Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin was being treated as the wide receiver one.
Yep,
that's insane. This is growing out the patty. We got to see it now. We got to see it.
I want to see that. Put it in Discord.
But yeah, I think if he does come back as who he was last year, which is a long shot, but it's possible, this could be a steal for any team because no team is going to give him the bag because you can't take that risk. He has no leverage. He's going to sign a 1 to 2 year contract somewhere. He's not going to be extended. He's not going to sign a long-term contract. A team's going to get him a 1 to 2 year contract, maybe at a vet maximum deal. I really don't even think that's possible. I think he's going to be in another prove-it-year deal to see where he stands as far as him coming back from injury.
Yeah, he reminds me of AJ Green. When AJ Green had those phenomenal years, and then injury strikes, and then he just was popping back from team to team.
Yep, it sucks. I like him a lot. Same thing with Julio Jones.
Yeah.
AJ Green, Julio Jones. He's that type of player. I'll love for the Niners to take a chance on him, but I wouldn't want the Niners to pay him too much, because we got to be smart with our money here.
I'd say like 10 mil max.
Yeah. A vet minimum deal would be ideal for teams. Sucks for him. But yeah, no. Well, that was the last topic of today, unless you have something else, Vincent.
I really don't. I'm just sad that there's a possibility, like you said earlier in this video, we might not resign Tyler Lockett because, the age, man, it happens. I wish he could stay with the Seahawks forever, but unless he takes like a super big cut, we're probably not going to resign him. And that's happening around the league for a lot of players. So it's getting to that time where a lot of guys are getting cut. We've already seen a few of them, defensive, offensive line, wide receiver types. So it is what it is. But yeah, the NFL is moving along, getting younger. New guys are rising, and it's going to be crazy coming into this next week. I think it's a week from today that when free agency frenzy starts. So should be fun.
Sounds good, Dizzle. I'm looking forward to seeing that video you sent on Discord. So appreciate that. And this just goes to show if you want some early picks for next year, if you're on Underdog Fantasy and you're picking teams for next year, make sure you draft Mike Evans. Okay?
Yeah.
Go draft Mike Evans. Even if they draft a wide receiver.
Certified 1K.
Oh, yeah. Faux show. But thank you guys so much. As I said at the beginning of this video, we do videos all year round, NFL videos. And if you want to talk about football, join our Discord. We try our best to be active there, but there's going to be a lot more news and rumors and exciting stuff to talk about the NFL starting next week, I believe. So Stay tuned, stay focused, hit that notification bell because we might just do some surprise episodes throughout the week or weekend whenever some news drops. So thank you all so much for joining in here. And until next time, as we always say, keep on grinding.